live in LA, and this evening we welcome an amazing personality. We are zooming over to Switzerland and welcoming Donna Avellana Kunzler. She is celebrated author and most importantly, an entrepreneur. And what's amazing is we can have her on the show. So welcome, Donna.
Hi, Vilma. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're so welcome, and thank you also for communicating and getting in touch with us, because this is so important what you're doing. So you are an author, and let's introduce them to your book. It is actually the Overseas Fabulous Pinay, or the OFAB. You had a short for that.
OVFABPINAY.
OVFABPINAY. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I was actually gonna show you the digital copy, but I couldn't get it on my thing. But thank you so much. I do have the copy. And so tell us about this book, because I was just reading the introduction and I'm, so impressed, and I'm so happy that you're able to follow your dreams. So let's share with the audience how, you got there.
So first about the book. So the Overseas Fabulous Pinay, it's a modern Filipina's handbook on how to thrive abroad. So it's a self-help book, especially written for overseas Filipinas or Filipinas who are planning to move overseas. Because in there I tackle questions such as, what are the skills that you need to be able to survive overseas? How do you conduct yourself in the workplace? What are the things that you have to prioritize upon arriving in your destination, within the first 6 months? How do you make friends? How do you integrate eventually in your host country? I even touch on the financial side. So what are the important questions to ask yourself to plan for your future in terms of finances? And lastly, I also cover about self-love. So this book is really the only book that you'll ever need if you want to plan for your move abroad, or you want to make your life abroad more worthwhile. So how this came about a few years ago, I was doing a self-reflection, and I really had this urge to do something about my advocacies on women empowerment, education, and promoting the welfare of Filipinos overseas. And so, since I didn't have much money to donate anyway to charity or the time also to volunteer, and so I thought of, what can I do? What am I good at? And I was thinking, maybe you could give me credit for living overseas for a while. I've been overseas for 20 years now, and I have lived in a couple of countries, a number of cities, and there's so much learnings. It's not a bed of roses when you move overseas, especially if you do it more than once, because it's not like it's easy. Even though you've moved in more than one place, it's always different circumstances. Yeah,
I totally get you. I identify. I left, my family left the Philippines when I was 4.5 years old. Grew up in Japan, Hong Kong, then eventually moved to the US. But so many different cultures, and it's so rich to be able to adapt to the country. Because we were kids when we were growing up, it was easier for us to adapt. We just go, this is what we wake up to. But for you, having this roadmap and this guideline for the Filipino or Filipinas, but I'm sure that, not only just the Filipinas, but Filipinos in general, they'll be able to benefit from your book.
What I wrote are based on my experience. So when I was still single, as a career woman.
Right. Yeah. Give us an example of that. I'm just looking through your book here. People can see that I'm looking here because it's on my other side of the screen. So share with us, like in general, what you think would benefit people in general, or Filipinos in
Let's
general?
say one of the things that I cover in my book is the power of connecting. So if you are thinking of moving abroad, just think, who do you know? And connect to those people. And it doesn't matter where your connections are. They may be where you are, like you're in the Philippines. You would think, who do they know? And this is how it started, you know, when I was moving from Singapore to US, I just tell my friends, I'm moving to US. I don't know anyone in this area. Who do you know? And all of a sudden, all the names popped up, you know, people who are actually in my circle. I didn't even know they were there, or a friend of a friend. So you'll be surprised, and you will have instant connections. And that's a great help because you can find information, up-to-date information. They can also help you when you arrive and help you settle in.
Yeah, so that's your community connection. So which part of the US did you live in?
I was living in San Jose, California, but mostly in LA for work. I was in where was I? Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks. So it's like, yeah, just an hour or so from here. So I was also in the Bay Area, actually in Sunnyvale / Cupertino area for a while, and my sister still lives in that area. But yeah, and then you moved to Switzerland. So how was that?
So after US, I was in London for 4 years, and then I moved to Switzerland. Switzerland was a totally different ball game. First off is the language. So I had to deal now with a foreign language. Before it was all English, you know. Right. I mean, even Singapore, yes, there's Chinese, but generally it's English. You can get by. Switzerland, it's hard. You need to learn. Well, it's quite complicated because Switzerland has many
German
dialects.
Yeah.
Swiss German, there's Swiss French, Swiss Italian. So I'm on the Swiss German part. And although business language is, they encourage you to learn German or High German, it's the hardest to learn because you don't hear it. So up to now, my skills are really bad still because I never had to use it for my work. I was always in a global role, and I really need to catch up now because now that I have a daughter, she would soon grow up and start speaking it. So I need to brush up on my skills. Yeah.
Right.
And even if Switzerland was like my fourth country, it still posed a couple of challenges. Yeah, it was the hardest to integrate in for me.
And here you are. This is probably going to be where you're at for a very long time.
Exactly.
Because now you're rooted and you have your family there.
Yes.
Right. Getting back to your book, you are embarking on a world tour, a virtual world tour. So give us a little bit of details on that.
So I'm covering a couple of countries where, there's a big concentration of Filipinos, of course, worldwide. And I'm partnering with various Philippine embassies and consulates, as well as Filipino associations and media to help promote my book. So just like your show, of course, something similar that I would be guesting and promoting my book. In other formats, it might be depending on who you have a structured format, of course, but the others may be more I really have to do a proper event, like I do a talk or something, a longer Q&A, more interactive. So we'll see. So it's still in the planning stage. I'm not I couldn't say anything else yet, but the countries, of course, the hotspots, you have US, Canada, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, Spain, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Australia as well. And I hope I did not forget, of course, Philippines too. So yeah. So
as far as making that plan, is it just you yourself doing all the administration, all the contacts, or you're one woman Wonder Woman?
I am, yeah. I'm a one woman, one woman company at the moment.
People have kind of mentioned the same thing as me because for the show, well, I have Rosalie, who's such a sweetheart. She's an amazing personality in the Philippines. She's worked with media for such a long time. So she helps me with guests as well. And so we kind of talk and see who's guesting, who do I have, who does she have. And then from there, other than that, I record everything, edit everything. Now I've started doing all the technical stuff when we're broadcasting. But it's a lot of fun because, like you said, it empowers the individual, which is what your book is all about.
Correct. And you learn a lot.
They're able to avail of your book right now, correct?
Yes, that's right. So it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Book Depository, all the major online retailers worldwide, and as well on my website. On my website, it's just the ebook at the moment, but I'm still waiting. So I have the lulu.com integration coming up. It's in the works where I can, after that, I can also sell the printed copies from my website at OVFABPINAY.com.